Welcome to 1 Million Cups. I saw a few new faces, so welcome. But just to let you know, if you don't know, 1 Million Cups is an entrepreneurial educational program put down by the Kaufman Foundation. So there's 1 million cups of coffee being served all over the country because there's over 150 chapters all meeting right now. So that's what it's about. But the point of it is it's a place to help entrepreneurs have a place to come, share ideas, and talk and learn, and just help grow their business, but have a place where they can come and hang out. So we're glad you're here. We couldn't do any of this without our sponsors, so we'll just cover some of those real quick. Obviously, you all had some coffee this morning, so thank you, Granny Shapers, for the coffee. We get the Missouri Technology Corporation. We've got the Joplin Chamber and all their staff helping and all that, so we appreciate them. The MoCan Partnership, the Joplin Public Library, and all of Jeannie's work. And then SMB is also a sponsor, so we thank you all those. So, but anyway, glad you're here. Just a couple things real quick. All of you need to mark your calendar for April 6th. That's going to be our 1 year anniversary. And so we're going to expecting a lot of people to show up. So we're going to hold it at the Athena event space on 32nd Street. So there'll be more information coming, but it's going to be extra special. So make sure you mark that to actually be here and come and attend that one. But today we're going to hear from FosterAdopt Connect, and Tom Burr is going to share with us. So Tom, come on.
Joining me today is Allison Gregory. She's our regional vice president, and we're excited to show.
You're like Britney Spears.
Like that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. This feels silly. Okay, how about that? Okay. Good morning. So I'm with FosterAdopt Connect. I introduced Allison. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about our nonprofit, about moving into Joplin, and about some of our programming stuff. So, to get started, our mission is to provide foster and adopted children a stable, loving, and nurturing family environment by support and advocacy for abused and neglected children and the families caring for them. I'm not going to read every slide like that, but I did want to say our mission just because I think it's important for you to understand what we do and kind of the mentality behind some of our programming. So I'll let you read those. Allison, you want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things of what our end goal is really the purpose. And just to break the generational cycle of abuse and neglect, because as we know, kiddos that end up in the foster care system are there for no reason of their own, and they're usually in there because of neglect and abuse from their parents, who were usually also in the foster care system because they are learning, they're in that cycle of learning how to parent from their parents. And so our work is really to work with those families and the kiddos and try to break that cycle for the next generation.
Okay, so to get into our programming, we have several programs that we're offering in Joplin, and as we go through them, I'll kind of talk about the timeline a little bit. So today, right now, we have an advocate, and we have our Sammy's Window Clothing Closet. And so I'll talk about Sammy's Window first. So this is our clothing closet. Families can come in monthly and shop for free, regardless of, let me back up. So they can come in and shop for free for clothing. We have hygiene items. We do kits mostly, so we'll have shampoo and conditioner, maybe some feminine needs, soap, things like that, body wash. We also have a small food pantry, very small starting out, but we do hope to grow that. And so again, when those families come in, we'll be able to offer them some basic crackers, cereal, snacks. We get a lot of like Little Debbie stuff. Not the good stuff, but like oatmeal cookie cereal, right? And so we get to share that with our families. And then we also have our advocate right now. So our advocacy department really serves foster families. And so if you want to go with me real quickly about think about when a child first comes in to a placement. A lot of times if they're coming straight from maybe their bio home or maybe a foster home that was not so kind, they may be coming with very little. And so we can kind of meet those basic needs of bedding, immediate clothing, and then our advocates can step in and help answer those questions about maybe how to get enrolled in school or how to get with the doctor, and then help navigate the foster care system too. So go to those FSTs, help explain maybe why the case manager is behaving a certain way or why the judge said something. The advocate stands to meet those answer those basic questions.
And I think just kind of to add on to that, a lot of times when kids come into care, it's usually in an emergency situation. You can come into care 3 different ways, which is through the ER, through the police department, or it can be through like a school call or something like that. So a lot of times they are emergency needs, and the kiddos don't have an opportunity to take much with them. And so when a foster parent gets a call, it may also be not one, which is usually what they're prepared for, but we usually try to keep siblings together, so it might be 2 or 3. And so then they're all of a sudden getting, went from 0 kids to 3 kids or something like that. And that's kind of where Sammy's comes in, is that to provide that immediate need, and also kind of give that family kind of something a little bit to start with until, because it's kind of like a little moment of chaos, right? So it gives them a little bit of a calm, of a support, and that's usually where we'll connect them with the advocate and make sure that those kiddos are getting those other needs met, and kind of starting that process on a good foot, hopefully, and just kind of trying to stabilize that family and get them prepared for all of the challenges that they have.
Yeah. And so those are our direct services. So direct meaning direct client facing. Our next services that we're bringing in, and we're actually in the interview process for the manager position, is prevention. And so you think prevention, you think you're keeping kids out of foster care. And so for prevention, we have 2 programs there: fostering prevention, and then a kinship navigator. So fostering prevention is exactly what it is: keeping kids at their bio home, preventing them from coming into care. And so we do that with a 12-month parenting program where we have staff actually go into homes and train up parents, do some hand over hand. And then our kinship navigator is geared at kids who aren't necessarily like formally in care. And so you think like a kiddo comes in and goes with a teacher, or maybe with a family member. And we have, again, kind of just an advocate to be there and answer questions, meet needs, and overcome obstacles.
And both of those programs are unique in the fact that not only are we helping advocate and connect services in the community, but we also have funds to help stabilize them. So in many situations, maybe for the kinship navigator, maybe a mom has dropped off brother and sister, and she has peaced out, right? She's gone for like a month. And grandma either maybe lives in a 55+ community where she's not supposed to have children, or maybe she has retired and is on a limited income. Those are instances in which we can actually come in and help and provide a little bit of support and services for whether it's childcare or whether it's now grandma has to move out of the 55+ community into another home. We can help with like deposit and things like that. So we have some funds that will help with that, but that's just kind of that beginning stopgap measure where we'll continue to work with that family and make sure that they can do all of the same things, because we talked about the advocate getting the kids enrolled in school, right? So that foster parent has custody of those kids. Grandma does not technically have custody of those kids. So that can actually prevent or cause a lot of barriers, whether it's going to a doctor's appointment or it's trying to get enrolled in school, because grandma's still not the technical custodian. So we can work with them, we can work with the school system or what other agency that might be having some, setting up some barriers, and typically work through those things with those agencies to make sure that those kids are comfortable and stabilized within that caregiver home, so.
And the goal, again, if you go back to our purpose, is just to break that cycle, right? To meet those families where they are and help them overcome whatever barriers they're facing so that they can achieve higher, right? Our next program is recruitment. And so both of these are geared at kiddos who are in care, have been in care for a while, the extreme family finding. For kids who have been in care for a while, we come in and kind of review those case notes and hopefully find them a home, a permanency. And then 30 Days to Family does that same recruitment process, but at the beginning instead of after they've been in care for several years. And so those programs are really great for just changing the dynamic of those kids' lives and then helping them find permanency. I know that was really short, Allison. We can keep going. We've got more programs. So
real quick with 30 Days to Family. So this is one of the ones that currently statistics show that kiddos that are placed with family members have just longer permanency. Like they are happier, even if it's a family member that they maybe don't know, or maybe the family member doesn't even know that they exist, which can happen. So our team does a genealogy, so they actually work to find anywhere from 80 to 100 people who are connected to that child in some way, shape, or form. And then they actually go out and they call, they internet stalk, they knock on doors, and they start talking to people and trying to find someone in this net of people who have connection to this child who may be willing to take them. And then we work with them through the licensing process and we prepare that family. And so it's kind of a longer process, but these are kids that have just been taken into care for the first time. And within the first 30 days, we try to accomplish this family finding piece. So we're really excited to bring it to the Joplin area because it is definitely a need. We've been trying to service it out of Springfield. We have an office in Springfield, and we've been trying to service it out of there, and we really think that having boots on the ground, so to speak, here in the Joplin area will really help a lot, 400 kids that we currently have in care. So.
And so that's coming this summer, most likely. We're hiring these out right now, so hopefully by the end of spring, this program will be up and going. And then these two programs I'm very excited about. So CCYP, our Community Connections Youth Project, focuses on kids, this says 17, but 16 to 26, and really just focus on creating a community for those aging out foster youth who have most likely failed to find one, right? Like they've been in care for several years, they're aging out, they haven't been able to find a permanent family, and now they're facing some struggle years on their own. And so we come in and we provide education, we provide that sense of community. Very excited to offer that. We do something we haven't talked about in all of these programs. We do several needs assessments, and so we do financial needs assessments so that we can kind of tailor suit that education to that individual. Very excited to be able to do that.
And just kind of background on these kiddos, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of news stories about kids aging out of foster care, and typically if they're coming from like what we would call a congregate setting or a home of some sort, they really haven't been given the skills that they need to be able to live on their own. And so a lot of times they are able to come at the age of 18, they're able to exit care, and most of them do. They're just like, I'm done, I'm out.
I want to stay out of my life.
I'm out of my life. They actually have the option to stay in, but they have to ask to stay in, and they have to do kind of a lot of hoops to stay in. And if they stay in, they actually get a fair amount of support, including tuition and those kinds of things if they were to want to go to college, and health care and all of these kinds of things. But it's a lot of hoops that they would have to know how to do. So we help navigate that. Like if they choose to go out, we try to make sure that they are prepared, hook them up with job placement and education and budgeting and all of those kinds of things. And then if they choose to stay in, we try to help support them through that and help them with their FAFSA and, all of this, whatever it is that they want to do. And it is a volunteer, no eject, no reject program. So if they are like, okay, I'm good, thanks, and they peace out and we don't see them for a couple of months, and then they decide, they have stumbled and they come back, we welcome them back with open arms, and we start from where they left off or where they currently are, and then continue to build. So it's a really great program that just, makes those connections and supports those kiddos that really typically don't have support at that point in time in their lives. So.
And then our behavior intervention program. And so our BI program is geared towards foster homes, where our staff again come in and do some hand over hand, some coaching. This one really focuses on neurostim activities and de-escalation techniques, again for that behavioral piece. And so teaching children, but also teaching families, modeling for families. So I'm very excited for this program. Just changing that trajectory, being able to provide some more support and education and give these families tools to help them break that cycle. Very excited.
I think what's cool about this particular program is that we do receive state funding for this program, because we've been able to determine that through this program we're able to keep kids out of care. And so once they are placed, what happens sometimes is that the behaviors escalate because of the trauma that these kids have gone through. And so what might happen is the family, even if they've adopted, might just be like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't have this child in my home, they're too disruptive or whatever. So then that kid might go back into care. So that's another rejection that child has faced, right? So what we do is we go into the home and work with them and are able to kind of stop that disruption by giving the child and the family tools. And so we can save, like, per child, I think it's in the $10,000 a year range that we save the state per child per year that they're out of care. So it's actually a really great program, and something that we are able to offer not only as a service to the families, but as to the community as a whole.
Okay, so those are our programs rolling out over the next 12 months. And then I've got some things for you to save the date. So next Thursday, we are having our ribbon cutting and open house at our office, which is the Strip Mall by Del Rio, out on 32nd and Maiden. We have the inside corner. Used to be a kickboxing studio. It's now a beautiful clothing closet that I hope you are all able to come see next week.
Do you have an address?
I do. It's on the last slide here, and then I believe I have some invitation cards over here on this table with our other flyers that you can grab. It has the information, date, address, all of that. So yeah, our open house ribbon cutting. Please come see our space. Invite others if you would. We'd appreciate it. And then this summer we have a fundraiser. We sell slabs of ribs and redeemable tokens. This price is tentative, depending on pork prices and availability of ribs. So, but please plan to come support us at our fundraiser. And then this September, tentatively, sometime this fall, we're going to have a gala, a Road to Home gala, that focuses on, again, just providing permanency for kids. And we're gonna have a speakeasy theme, working on planning committee for this. So if you're interested, please email me. So yeah, look for details on that gala coming this summer when you buy our ribs. And then we have some needs, which is what this is all about. So today we need gently used clothing, all sizes. So foster kids from newborn all the way up to my size need clothes. So please donate whatever you have, whenever you can. And then we do new socks and underwear and new baby diapers and baby wipes. So these are needs we have today. You can bring them to our open house if you'd like. You can also drop them in front of our doors, and we will gladly take them in every morning for you and sort them out for our families. Ways you can help. So please spread the word. I know we were pretty heavy on programming this morning, but I want you all to have an understanding of what we do and what we're offering as we roll out, so that you can speak to us. Because when you speak to others about us, you become advocates for the children in care. And I think this is pretty powerful. So you think 400 children in Jasper County every year, that's like 17 a month. So it's every other day, pretty much, you have a kid coming into care. And so that's just Jasper County, and we serve, let's go back and show you, maybe.
I was gonna say, so kind of to put this in reference, like Greene County, which is the county I'm from, so we're looking at almost 200,000 in Greene County, like Springfield alone, is how many how many people live in Greene County? Their number is 800, and you guys have 50,000
Yeah.
in Jasper County, and you're sitting at 400. So that just shows you the amount of need that is in this area.
And I didn't mention, we do serve Jasper, Newton, McDonald, Cedar, Barton, Vernon, and Dade. So we go north, the Joplin office goes north and south. So pretty large service area. Obviously there's the most work in Joplin because that's our backyard and that's where we're starting. But we do have pretty high ambitions to get out and serve those other counties too. So yeah. But yes, please speak about what you've heard today when we come up. I know foster care has probably touched just about everybody in this room. It's pretty common, a lot more common than you would think just by how often we speak about it or how little we speak about it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all mixed up here now. Okay, community needs. So I need help marketing. I need PSA opportunities and sponsorships for those events that I shared with you. We have some donation bins that are coming. They're very nicely branded, corrugated board donation bins. So I need a couple high traffic areas for those. I need some grant opportunities. So as you hear about things, please share them with us. For local and regional as well as for program and non-program. And so grant people, I'm sure that makes more sense to you. And then planning for an advisory board and then planning committee for our gala. So I've recruited a couple people for this planning committee. We need to meet in the next 30 days probably to start planning for that September event. And so if you're interested, please reach out and let me know. And I'd love to invite you to our first meeting coming up.
And then our advisory board is really just that. It's like community ambassadors, people who know people in the community and are willing to speak about the organization when they're out at events like this and things like that. We have a governing board that is at our headquarters. I'm pretty sure I talked about.
Yeah, I didn't talk about our organizational structure.
But we have our headquarters office in Kansas City, and they have a governing board there. So with all the fiduciary responsibilities and that kind of stuff. So our board here locally is just like an ambassador, like just talking and spreading the word and helping kind of grow in the area. So that usually kind of gives people a little bit of a sigh of relief if that's something.
It's not a
that
full-on
you're interested in.
board.
Yeah. So I guess I can, since I broached on that, are we done with that part?
I think so.
Okay. Here, let me finish that part and then I'll go back.
So this is just our address. So we have our open house coming up, so it's here at this address. And I'd love for you to come visit us, come see, learn about what we do. That's all I got. We can talk about organizational structure, I guess, or we can briefly, and then we'll open up for Q&A.
Just real brief, just to kind of give you some background. So we kind of just jumped right into local. So organizationally, our headquarters is in Independence, Missouri. This is our 21st year as, well, not as FosterAdopt Connect, but as an organization. We rebranded a couple of years ago. And then this year we have opened up 4 new resource locations. And then we had 3 additional ones. So we are now looking at about 8 full locations in the state of Missouri and 1 in Kansas. So we have Springfield, and then Joplin, Poplar Bluff, and then Chillicothe, Hannibal, Kirksville, and Macon. So we are kind of taking a big C out of the state of Missouri and covering them with our resource centers. So they're all about different sizes. We're expecting Joplin really to kind of grow and really quickly and probably be next to Springfield, the second largest one. So, just because of the ability and then the need here in this area. So, it's kind of just an overview. We have a lot of our programs are being replicated across the country, so that's really exciting for us to be able to share the things that we have found in our research and our programming, and share it with other organizations like ours and across the country. So.
Okay.
Make sure you use mic so they can hear it. Who's got questions?
Doug's got a question.
Okay, this is the empath in me speaking. Your CCYP program, those kiddos that go that 18 to 26, can you speak to how detailed you can observe the family to see if the kids that have not found a permanent family have got somebody in their life that is a real anchor for them? In other words, as cryptic as it sounds, how many of those that go through that and maybe become 27 and don't have a sense of mom or dad? Is there anything that's addressing that?
Yeah, so when we work as Tom, as Tom mentioned, that we a lot of our programs have these assessments. So one of the assessments that we do with our youth that are aging out of that program is we actually assess them in 8 different domains, and one of them is sense of community. So we actually work with them on, like, if you have a flat tire, is there someone you can call? If you need a doctor's, so we actually start like that with asking them questions, and then we listen to those answers. What are those answers? If you're calling your caseworker, that's that's not a really great solution, right? Or, they have a current friend, but maybe is not a really good influence. So we work with them on A, who they have currently, B, who we can connect them with, and C, how they can develop stronger relationships. Because they usually, a lot of times at that point, if they have not been adopted or found permanency, they are kind of like, a leaf in the wind, right? Where they don't have any strong connection. So we're partially helping them identify positive connections and teaching them how to find those connections. And then we will, kind of work with them, and that's an ongoing process, and it does shift and change while they work with us, so.
Thank you.
My question is, you guys work with how are you working with the state as far as they have foster programs here in the state?
Mm-hmm.
And we, DFS in this area has foster programs. How does that all connect with you guys?
Sure. Yeah, so Children's Division does all the case management. They contract out to a couple providers in Joplin and throughout the state. But so we just kind of sit adjacent to, and we really just focus on supporting the families. And so we do obviously have good relationships with Children's Division and work to maintain those. But our primary focus is the families and obviously the children and then the families that care for them.
And in some cases, we can really actually relieve some of the tasks that those case managers have. For instance, our family finding, which is our 30 days to family, they're required to find 3 potential placements for every child that comes into care. And if we are in on that case when it comes into the system, that's something that we can take off of their plate, and we can actually our goal is to find 80 connections. And so that's kind of what we do. So we can take that piece off, or if the case manager has someone who really just needs the foster care system explained to them, and they don't really have time to do that. They're carrying 30 or 40 cases, so they can refer to us, and we can take some of that off. So we kind of try to help work alongside of them. And
Yeah, that foster family advocate definitely being there to answer questions for that foster parent, so that they're not clogging up the case manager's voicemail, right? And so you think about just being a partner to Children's Division is probably the easiest way to describe our agency. Yeah.
I have a question. So how are you guys funded, and, is it private or is it through your big organization?
Sure. So we are a nonprofit, so we are definitely funded through donations. We do get some state and grant funding, mostly grant funding. We do get state funding specific for programs, as Allison mentioned during the slideshow. But most of we are a nonprofit, and so it's donation-based, grant-based.
Anybody else have a question?
Follow up to yours, Lowell. On your funding, if somebody makes a donation locally, does that go to Kansas City and it goes into a general fund disseminated, or is that designated here?
We have specific fundraising goals that are specific to each area, and those are the ones that help with operationally and help expand programs, and so those stay local. I mean, technically, it goes up and comes down, but the funds stay here
Sure.
within our budgeting system.
And so a great way to answer your question, Doug, and thank you for asking that. When you guys make donations, you can specify what they're for. And so if you want to make a donation specifically for diapers in Joplin, you can put that on the check, or however you make your donation, you can put that in the notes. You can also say unspecified. So if you make a $20 donation that's unspecified, Tom can use that to go buy lunch. Thanks, Doug, right now. But you could definitely, as a donor, have the ability to specify where your funds go. And so I would just encourage you, when you make those donations, to either specify or be specific and say that it's unspecified, so that our nonprofit can use it as we need it.
Yep. But like when you go on our website, you can check which location, and then they are credited here locally for operations or specific needs like diapers.
Nice, thank you.
For was it CCYP? Is that an existing program or a new program, and then how is it staffed?
So it's actually unusual the way it's staffed. So we have two of those currently operating, one in Springfield and one at headquarters. This is a program that's very unique to our organization, and it is staffed by specialists that have lived experience. So they either have to have been in care, or like maybe a relative care, like raised by grandma or something like that. So they actually have like empathy and really understand where that kiddo, their client, is coming from. And typically they are on the younger side as well, so that they can really kind of relate to that client, and it's not just like another social worker like working with them. It's someone who really understands where they came from.
And this
So-
stood in their shoes, which
Yeah.
is really powerful.
Yeah,
You know,
it is really powerful.
when you're looking for a mentor, right? Like that's what you're looking for, someone who's been exactly where you are and can relate to you on that level. So that's pretty awesome. You had another question. Oh, new or existing. So most of these programs have been offered in Joplin by Springfield for the last few years, and we've come in and are supporting families already, which is great. So new-ish to the area, but existing and established.
I have a question though. So how are you getting, so I know you're pretty new to this position, Tom, how are you getting the word out? How are you getting the message out about needing donations or all of the other things that you need people to do?
Just like this, super organically, one-on-one. No, we do have a Facebook page. I think we broke 100 likes within the last 24 hours, so
Yay.
it's exciting. So please like us on Facebook, FosterAdopt Connect Joplin. We have our ribbon cutting and open house coming up, and so we've got some press for that. You know, it's interesting. I think, you know, serving families is going to be our probably most powerful, right? When you serve a family and they put that word out to their foster family, friends, we get some growth that way. But by you guys, right? So please like us, share our stuff around, come to our ribbon cutting and support us.
Anybody else?
Hello. How do families get referred to for the prevention piece? The prevention program?
So, this is a new program, so it, actually has been functioning in the state of, we have an office in Kansas, and it's been functioning there, and so we're just now bringing it to the state of Missouri. So, one of the best referral sources for that program is typically the school system. So it's whether a teacher or a, guidance counselor or social worker in school sees that there's like potential there, and maybe that family needs some support, so then they would be referred. It can also come from Children's Division, and those are probably the two biggest referrals that we would get from that.
Thank you, guys.